Welcome, one and all, to another Let's Play of Kerbal Space Program featuring me, Expendable123. Let's go ahead and get in the game. Now, I know there's a lot of Let's Plays out there. Why are you going to watch mine? Well, I will actually have goals for mine. My first launch, which I've already prepared for, is going to be a unmanned launch using MechJeb, and I actually have quite a few mods on my system now. As you can see, I've got some fairings and everything. What my goal is to do it sort of like what a actual space program would do. Like, they're not just gonna take a bunch of dudes and launch them into space, you know. So I would like to start off doing a automated ascent, just on stage 3, which is good, and essentially launch unmanned, enter orbit, return to Kerbal, and I want to try and land next to the Kerbal Space Center using the landing autopilot. It's not that difficult to do, so we'll try that. Will it happen? Not sure, but we shall see. Now, this is all MechJeb. It's all fancy and cool, and it helps in everything. Like, it's so awesome. Like, I'm not controlling anything right now. Like, I'm not pushing any buttons, and it's kind of hacks. You know, I mean, I can sit here and do nothing, but it helps me test out designs, and whenever I pilot them myself, which every single manned mission, I will be piloting and landing myself. So I will be, anything that there's actual risk, it'll be in my hands. Any Kerbals that die will be on me. So there's that. My long-term goals is, after I do a unmanned launch in orbit and land, I will launch a unmanned satellite, which will, I don't know if I want to do Kerbal first, because I'm actually using this mod that makes Kethane. It introduces an element called Kethane that can be mined and made into fuel. So I think that after I do a manned orbit and land, I will do a unmanned mission with a, maybe I'll download the mod, lets me map the surface of the moon. Unmanned satellite that will go to the moon, orbit, create a surface data map that will show me where the Kethane deposits are, and then I will launch a unmanned lander. Let's see that. We're doing still executing the gravity turn, we're coasting. Yep. Actually 23.4 liters of fuel left. That's pretty efficient. Anyways, so once we find the Kethane, I will be launching a lander to go to the Kethane, land, and mine it, or extract it, I guess is the word. Now, once we extract that and store it and convert it to fuel, then I will launch a manned mission, which I think I might contain a rover that uses fuel, or at least RCS, to kind of give it a little bit of kick. And then, let's see, let me go ahead and separate these fairings and leave that. Okay, turn RCS on. Okay, so now, goodbye fuel tank, you served your job well. Coast in the apoapsis, and now it's going to burn that fuel. Cool. Goodbye. Thank you. Now, once I make it to the moon, I will try and design the lander so that it has just enough fuel to land properly and safely, but it won't have much left. Like, maybe just barely enough to escape. But the goal is to use the extractor to pump fuel into the lander so that it's going to achieve a guaranteed exit velocity and leave the moon, return to Kerbal, or Kerbin, and then land safely. So that's like kind of the overall goal. Now once I make a successful, you know, way station essentially, I will be using that lander design, maybe a little bit more rugged, to approach and land. Why did I disengage? 68, 121. Okay, I guess it didn't like that. Let's go to orbital operations. Let's circularize at 95 kilometers. That goes away. So now we're just kind of evening this out. But anyways, so we have achieved orbit. Cool. MechJeb has done all the work for me. So we're going to go ahead and go around once. And then after this, we are going to attempt to land at the Kerbal Space Center. So we are approaching the light side of the planet again. And once we get about here, we have achieved a full orbit. So let's go ahead and slow that down. Now we're going to landing autopilot. Now we're going to target Kerbal Space Center and then say land at target. So we're going to zoom in. And now we've got the RCS on, so it actually wants to use it. And it's going to be burning retrograde in order to bring this periapsis in. See now, it's shrinking and shrinking. And now it's gone, so now we are officially out of orbit. We are at quite a bit of altitude, 94,000 kilometers. But as you can see, we're going to be entering the atmosphere, and that'll drastically slow down. But anyways, so there's that. So once I make that way station, I will be making a bit more of a durable, longer distance ship that will land at the Mun and then use the Mun's velocity to maybe execute some sort of release and go to MUMech. Now MUMech should have a similar amount of cathane as the Mun, so maybe I can land the lander that we're going to land that has the extractor, take off, land at MUMech. And after that, who knows? We got this big old solar system. Maybe I'll end up at Moho, Duna, Jewel. I mean, it's a pretty big. I mean, when you think about it, that's huge to get to. I mean, I can't even fathom how big that stuff is. I think Bill Nye actually had a really good comparison one time. He on his, there we go, where the Kerbal Space Center should be just over there. But Bill Nye had a really awesome thing where he sat down and actually tried to visualize where everything was, and he had, this is the sun, it was like a ball. He was on a bike on some road in like Kansas or something. It was just rolling hills and like fields. And he rode a bike, and he got all the way to Earth. I think it was like 4 kilometers, like real kilometers away. It was pretty crazy. I don't know. It was cool. I love Bill Nye, and I wish more people would take science the same way he does, where he takes it seriously, but he wants to educate people, and he wants to kind of make it fun, you know? So, but anyways, so the next stage that we have is actually this tower here, and this is actually a retro booster. These, when they fire, will create quite a bit of thrust to slow this baby down. Then they detach, and then the parachute comes out. These RCSs are just for show. This engine is just kind of get it where it needs to go. It will drastically slow down when this fires. So we're kind of on target. Stay on target. Alright. And I don't know if you guys noticed this in the top left. in real world terms, or not real world, but in Kerbal world terms, this ship has only been out for right about 40 minutes. I mean, can you imagine that, being a scientist on the ground, hitting a button, watching this rocket shoot into the sky, and looking at your watch and being like, yeah, we should expect it back in about 45 minutes, and having this thing re-enter the planet, you know, and land pretty close to where you launched it. I mean, automated. I mean, you have to think, you have to pat yourself on the back if you were that scientist that designed it, you know. But that's besides the point. I mean, rocketry itself, I mean, just, it's so amazing. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's actually some testing videos on YouTube. Go look them up for, maybe I'll post a link if I can find it. But it's like this rocket that actually has this vectored thrust that controls everything with the thrust. So you see like the inside of the chassis, and there's a camera in there watching the nozzle wiggle around and actually keep from the outside it looks perfectly straight. And then get up to the altitude, then land. Like, it's amazing. But here we go, we're executing. Make sure we're slowed all the way. And then we're gonna go ahead and burn. And then at right about 500, I'm gonna hit the retros. Actually, I'll just do it right now. Retros. Parachute. RCS going on. Sweet. I mean, look how close we are. Trying to use the RCS to translate into the bullseye. Why not? Got the fuel, might as well use it, right? We are 300 meters off the ground. Just translate out. There you go. So we are out of fuel. I'm going to use the RCS to try and help slow us down a little bit. It's not really working, but we got the landing gear out, and cross your fingers. It landed! Success! We have landed within 0.1 kilometer. 0.1 kilometer west and south. So we are, the target was there. That's about 100 meters. That's pretty good. Alright, so we successfully did an unmanned launch, orbit, and land. So next time I will be back with a manned craft to do the same thing. See you soon.